Max Grossman here, checking in from Newark Airport on my way back from Europe. Thank you for admitting this comment. So if the county were to approve $472 million of new debt, plus the $396.6 million from UMC, that would increase our debt servicing principal and interest to around $1.6 billion. That heaped up on top of the $10.7 billion that the taxpayers owe because of the debt of the 5 taxpaying entities. You see, when I look at your debt issuances, I'm not just looking at the county. I'm looking at this from the standpoint of a taxpayer paying a mortgage. And, you know, on the one hand, you have the city, which used to be the bad actor, which is now going to achieve 2 years in a row of no new revenue. And you have the county, which had always been fiscally prudent, which is going in the exact opposite direction. It's as if the city and the county switch roles, right? And you're toying with the idea of issuing somewhere between $170 and $180 million of certificates of obligation without voter approval. It's perfectly legal. Doesn't make it right. I think it's totally unethical. I'll go a step further. I think it's un-American. You should trust the voters with these kinds of debt issuances when you get into 9 figures like this. You saw what happened with UMC, 35,000 signatures in the blink of an eye. And you've got the head of the same organization, Libre, standing in front of you, and they could easily do the same thing. Who needs that? If that gets shot down in flames, then you have to wait for years before you can go for another debt issuance. Put the entire thing on the ballot. Trust the voters. Do it properly, please. You should trust your constituents and trust the voters to make up their own minds about how urgent these projects are. And just to put things in perspective, I'm aware that the city was bleeding out of their eyeballs to find $5 million to get to no new revenue. And it looks like they're going to get there. $5 million is how much you guys want to spend on one trail, and then another and another. I mean, all these projects are wonderful, but what I'm not hearing today or at the last meeting where you discussed this is any concern for the plight of the taxpayer. And Judge Samaniego, with all due respect, the last meeting suggested that El Pasoans are leaving the city to go to places like San Antonio, he cited, because there are more amenities in other places. That's not why they're leaving, Judge. They're leaving because our taxes are so high. I can name 20 people within 2 blocks of me who have moved to New Mexico to evade our tax burden. And the population of the county has risen very anemically. The population of the city has declined by 6,000 people since 2017. We're way behind Texas in this respect, and it's not because of the brain drain. It's not because of the lack of amenities. It's because we're being forced out of our homes. And it would be really, really useful if the Commissioners Court, if the county would talk to the city, the school districts, EPCC, UMC, and actually agree on a strategy to lower our overall tax burden so that we're in line with other Texas cities, so that we don't have this anti-competitive atmosphere that forces people out of their homes, especially retirees, and scares businesses away, right? In any case, please don't vote for this certificate of obligation. I don't care if the city did it 5 or 6 times, or if you haven't issued debt 1992 or 1993 or whatever. Please don't do that. It's just going to make people very, very angry, very upset. It's as if you don't trust us. One last thought. You know, I'm listening to your consultants and your staff constantly talking about your bonding capacity. You can issue this much debt without getting dinged by S&P and Moody's and all the others. You can maintain your bond rating. What a strange way to think. How about how much can we lower our spending in order to provide the taxpayers of El Paso County with some relief? How about thinking like that? How about turning it around and looking at it that way instead of how much can we get if we max out our credit card? And this comes on the heels of a $34 million tax hike right up to the back rate, and the 3rd double-digit salary increase since 2016. You all are paid double what you were paid in 2016. I don't know, my friends. I'm very disappointed especially in those members of this Commissioners Court who campaigned on fiscal prudence. Thank you so much for permitting my comment.